Ah, yes. You're comparing yourself to other human beings. How's this working out for you? Probably not so good. This is a good place for you to be. My name's Kris Krohn with Limitless TV, and today we're going to talk about how we can help you rid yourself of this really horrible habit of comparing yourself to other people. So, you got it bad, right? The sin of comparison. Worrying about the judgment of others, what do other people think of me, and how do I get over this? How do I stop comparing myself to other people? First of all, check in on this. If this is something you do, you might be a people pleaser. Now, that's a label, but you know what a people pleaser is, right? People pleaser is somebody that feels a need and a desire to be recognized by others by making others happy, doing things that would put smiles on other people's faces, wanting to come across pleasing, kind, nice, always with tact and politically correct. I got news for you. If that's true for you, you're a big liar. People pleasers are liars. I know, take it from one of the biggest ex-people pleasers there was. I didn't really believe it that way, I didn't see it that way, but I could dishonor myself so easily for the pleasure or happiness of somebody else. The first step, and in fact, I got a massive piece of advice that is coming your way in this next segment, but I want to break this down for you. I didn't become aware of this until I had a really unfortunate circumstance. There was a person in my life who I viewed as a mentor. They had taught me many things from a very spiritual perspective of how to see the world, and they were having this huge impact on who I was becoming as a human being. And over the course of the years that we spent time together, at one point I invited this person's husband to come and work for me. And this individual didn't have a job or work, and when I hired them, they stepped into a higher financial status, but it was kind of feast and famine. Sometimes it was really big, and some months there was no money, and then there was $10,000, and it was really kind of up and down. And I really didn't know what was going on in my mentor's mind until one day I got a letter from her. And there was so much financial scarcity and so much anger and frustration over the financial setup that she wrote a really scathing letter. And in it, she said a lot of things that hurt, things that I couldn't reconcile. And I was comparing myself to the image of this person that she was raising and bringing up. And I was so angry, I was so frustrated, I was so sad, I cried. And this moment, I was kind of in a funk for 6 months. I'd pull out the letter, and my wife and I would spend our time, because we disconnected from this once truly good friend and mentor, and we would spend our time talking about it and trying to reconcile this, until one day I realized, with the help of a mentor, that I was a people pleaser. And I started taking accountability for looking at the element of truth in every statement that hurt me in that letter. And I realized that this mentor was actually a great teacher, teaching me many wonderful good things. I became very grateful to this person for their moment of honesty and feedback, even though it hurt at the time. And I decided what I learned from this was I needed to stop being a people pleaser. I needed to become true to my highest and best self. I needed to learn how to honor myself instead of just always trying to honor others and sacrificial lamb, throwing my own wants and needs in life under the bus. Is this something that you do? Because when you're comparing yourself to other people and it hurts and it doesn't feel good, are you ever going to find happiness in doing that? Listen, you're always going to find someone smarter than you in one area of life where you're naturally just less smart than other people. You're going to see very attractive and pretty people in the world. And if you compare yourself to others and use that as a weapon to weaponize it and bring yourself down, or relationally aggressively lash out at other people, you're going to become, in time, one of the worst kind of people I do not like to spend time with. Crotchety. You become a crotchety human being, an unhappy human being. That's what ultimately happens when you're comparing yourself to other people, as if other people in the comparison of that could even tell you who you are. I want to share with you a piece of advice I got from reading a book that helped me truly transform from comparing myself to others and learning how to simply love and honor everyone else where they were at, and loving and honoring me with where I was. So years ago, I read a book by a woman named Katie Byron called Loving What Is. And what I loved about this book is it shared one simple idea, And I think this is one of the most powerful ideas to help break free of this idea of judgment and comparing yourself to other people. And am I measuring up? And the idea that Katie shared was really simple. It says, in life, there is your business, my business, and God's business. And anytime you are in somebody else's business, meaning their business or God's business, that's when you're not living anymore. That's when you're living somebody else's life. And you know what? Your life was given to you for you to live. Stay in your business. Comparison is found outside of your business. Comparison is actually an expression of not just judging you, but also judging others. And I really am not sure what there is to truly gain from it. So my invitation is to let go and learn how to set up a very healthy boundary system. The boundary system says, I'm not going to get in God's business and I'm not going to get in your business. I'm going to stay in my business because this is my life. Anytime you find yourself in judgment, you're simply in somebody else's airspace. You're in their bubble. You're in their business. And so just get used to living your life. And what you might want to do is you could put a little reminder on your wrist there that you just get to remind yourself, the moment I step into judgment, just give myself a little snap and remind myself, hey, be in my business. I'm in my business. There's one last thing I want to share. The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. He wrote this book. He didn't want to write it. He felt really inspired and compelled by inspiration that he needed to write this book. And it's the story of, if there's a God and he has his angels, then this book is written from the perspective of the devil and his angels. And it's done kind of in a cutesy, not so dark format. And the point that it makes is that there's this higher level devil that is serving in Satan's government, and he's constantly berating his nephew for not doing that great as a tempter for the human being that he's needs to watch over. And at one point, his nephew really botches it with his human and lets his human make good choices, and he's reaming him. And basically he says, how could you have allowed your human to become present? You need to keep them in the past. You need to be giving them thoughts and ideas and reminding them of everything that hasn't been, and keep them in the past, because there's no power in the past. But if you fail at that, you idiot, more or less, then you've got to put them in the future. Put them into the fear of what hasn't happened, what may never happen, or even fantasizing about what's never going to happen, because there's no power there either. But whatever you do not let your human become present, for in the present is power. I want you to know that when you're in someone else's business, there's no power. You're not really living. You're not really taking advantage of this life that you've been given. So create a new habit. And the new habit is that you get to acknowledge yourself. You get to recognize yourself. And you don't need judgment and comparison to do that. You, today, in this moment, get to choose to rise above that, so that you just step more powerfully into your own present life, making amazing good choices and honoring who you are. I hope this video helped you today. If you feel like you need even more help, if you feel like you're ready for next steps, I got some really big advice for you. If you want to experience truly a massive transformation, come hang out with me and my team for 3 days at our event called Limitless. We do it every single month. You're going to find a link below, and I'm going to tell you something right now. We're going to help rid you of some of the habits like judgment and comparison that are holding you back in life, to really discover your inner genius, figure out how incredible and amazing you truly are. Because the sooner you stop living in everyone else's business, and the sooner you start taking your life as the business of you and living it seriously and powerfully and with all the fun, I'll tell you what, your stars are going to change. Your destiny's going to change. So come click the link below, spend 3 days at Limitless, and experience the magic of a life-changing experience.